Welcome to the It Matters podcast. I'm your host, Walter Perez, and let's dive in as we help you grow your mindset and elevate your leadership. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the It Matters podcast. And my name is Walter Perez, and I'm glad you're joining me. I hope that you've enjoyed the last handful of episodes, really all the episodes that I've put out. But I hope that you're feeling like I've given you some value where you can apply some of these thoughts and these principles and things, and they're making you better as a leader. That you can take it to the arena and the audience where you're leading in, and that is making you better. And so that is the whole idea here. And so I wanted to bring you another episode, a solo episode, where I want to ask you a question. And that question is, are you showing up to practice? If you're an athlete or have been an athlete, you know exactly what I mean. Do you show up to practice? Do you show up to train? Do you show up to do those things that are going to equip you to show up to the game and be able to give your best? I really do believe that championships are won in the locker room, that games are won at practice, that whatever you're doing to perform, that those are done and won in training. If you're in business, whatever project you're trying to execute, whatever vision you have for your business, those things are accomplished and completed in boardrooms, in closed rooms, with team meetings, and in your planning. As you envision what that could look like, you win those by having good systems behind closed doors. So when you go and show up, you execute and you win it. Whatever you do, sometimes if you're a speaker, or if you perform in some sort of way, or whatever it is, sometimes people think when they see the finished product, or they see you do so well, and they think, wow, like you just show up and you just get it done. And I know that there is some natural talent and skill sets that are involved, but most of the time you win because you practice. You win because you've failed along the way, and you've tried different things, and you've tried to master your art. You tried to master your craft. And so I really believe that it's so important to show up to practice. And practice and training can seem so boring sometimes. And it can sometimes seem like, am I even getting this? I mean, I'm just not understanding what I'm supposed to do here, and I continue to try to do this one thing, but it's not coming out the way I wanted to, and it sounds horrible, it sounds bad, and you can get discouraged. But you're not realizing that you're building some muscle memory, and you're envisioning and you're visualizing how you want to actually, perform or do that thing, and how do you want it to turn out. And so I'm a huge advocate of showing up to practice. And I'm going to give you some examples in my life where I have learned that practice actually does help. And it's not about practicing making perfect. It's actually practicing creating progress, and practice creating consistency in your life, because those are the things that end up really creating great habits in our life. So in my background, like one of the things that I used to do in high school, junior high, is I played sports like soccer. I played I did running, track, and wrestling was really my main sport. And I've shared that before. But one thing that I learned, that if I was going to do good in a match and I was going to enter a tournament, that I had to show up to practice. I had to show up and train and make sure that I was feeling fit. I was making sure that I understood the different moves that I was able to do, and I understood the rules, and I would practice on a mat. And when it wasn't always, with a partner where I was practicing the wrestling moves, sometimes it was as simple as making sure that I was flexible, that I was understanding that my fitness mattered, and those things were boring. To jump on a treadmill, or to go do some weights, those are not always the most sexiest things to do, and you don't link it like to the you want to go wrestle, you want to go win, you want to go do that thing, and those little things sometimes can be boring. When I used to do track, there was a once upon a time when I was 14, 15, where I would wake up at 5 or 6 in the morning to just run, just to go for a run because I enjoyed it and I knew that I was creating a good fitness in my life. So then when I showed up to go and actually do a run, do a 5K run, or actually do a race, it was incredible how I felt. And I felt ready. I felt like I had been there before, that I could handle this, that this was mine. But I had all this experience in the practice time that made me so confident in the present time for actually showing up to perform and run. Growing up too in junior high, high school, I played the trumpet. I learned how to play that instrument in junior high, and then it went through the years, and I played in a school band, and I also got to do some solo performances for the Last Post, which is that piece that is played on Remembrance Day. And it was awesome, but man, if you ever pick up an instrument like a trumpet, you have to practice. You don't just show up to the day of the performance, pick up that trumpet and sound great. That would be amazing, but it was all done in the back end, in the back room where you were doing scales and tuning and making sure that your lips remembered, the muscle memory, and knowing how to hold that trumpet, how to put it to your mouth, how to play the notes. There was so much in that, but I had to show up to practice. I had to show up to the boring stuff and make sure that I was trying to do that very well. So then when it came together with everything else, it was magical. And so my question for you again, do you show up to practice? Do you even understand the importance of training and making sure that you're putting in the work so you can master your craft and be able to show up and be able to do an amazing job? Something that I've practiced maybe in the last 10 years or so, actually probably more, 20 years, is getting more comfortable speaking in public. I used to hate it. I used to hate going in front of a group of people and even just doing a presentation. I remember, my hands would shake, and I didn't like the way I sounded. I didn't like what I said, all that. But I started doing it. I started practicing, and I started doing it in small groups, and then it got a little bit bigger, and I would read my notes, and then I started studying other communicators and started seeing how they did it, and I started figuring out that I had a style. I figured out that I liked communicating in a certain way. I realized that reading wasn't always going to be the best way or the most effective way for me to communicate. So memorizing was actually going to be something that played a key role in that. And so as things have progressed, and I've learned, and I continue to study, and I continue to show up to train and practice, it's incredible that now I can speak in front of hundreds of people, and it doesn't make me nervous because I take it very serious, and I've chosen to make sure that I work on that skill set. But then I get sometimes compliments where I go, man, you were just very comfortable. You're actually pretty good. Do you do that a lot? And the reality is that I've actually been practicing for 20 years. So I really do hope that I'm getting better. I really hope that I'm becoming a better communicator, because if I'm not, well, I'm definitely doing something wrong and I'm not learning along the way. You know, Doing these podcasts to start off with would make me nervous. I mean, talking to the camera or into a mic, and knowing that many of you are listening to this, and the mind games that go in that. Am I sounding well? Did I say things well? And what if I mess up? And as you know it, I do mess up, and it doesn't matter because we're trying to have a conversation and I'm trying to add value to you. But the more and more I do it, and the better I'm getting. One of the key things that I do is I listen to the podcast after I finish it, after it's all been recorded. I listen to it on Spotify. Like, I just want to hear it, or I watch it on YouTube, because I want to know what I've done maybe bad or what I could improve on, but I also want to see what I'm doing well, because that's how you learn. In practice, you hear about teams, whether it's hockey or soccer or basketball, whatever it is, they go watch the replays, they go watch the game that they just played, so they can see what they did well or what they didn't do well. And so, do you get into the practice of doing that? And opportunities where it does get recorded, do you go watch it? Not because you just want to go give yourself some praise, but you want to go learn, and you want to keep improving as you continue to master your craft, as I've been saying. And so, those are the kind of things that I've always kind of kept on mind, because sometimes people will say, well, oh my goodness, I didn't, you look like you're an overnight success. And it's so easy to take away from the training and from the time and effort that you put in. And the reality is that I don't believe in overnight success. I've said that before. I don't believe in overnight success. I believe in overtime success. I believe that over time you start improving and getting better. You learn what you like doing, what you don't like doing, and in that you include coaches and mentors in your life, and you see the training videos, and you see other people that are doing things maybe better than you, and you start catching little things, and before you know it, you show up and you're actually a product, you're a byproduct of so many things in your life that make you who you are, but you're still unique to you. You are the only one that can communicate a certain way, that will tell certain jokes, that will present him or herself in a certain way. We're not here to be copycats. We're not here to be somebody else. And you've heard me say that before, because I really want you to hone in who you are and become the best version of yourself. But it's okay to realize that you can learn from other people and take little different pieces. I love the way they do that, or how they say this part about it, or how they prepare for that. And whatever it is, you bring it together, and then suddenly you make a masterpiece, and you create something that's good for you. You go play that game the only way you could play that game. You go present that project in the only way that you can. And and it and it and it and you start winning, and you start winning, and you start feeling like this is your sweet spot. But you only get there by practicing, you only get there by training. And so I want to encourage you to show up to practice, and do the hard things. Show up to practice and do those things that seem like they're not as important, but in reality they're actually part of the building blocks that make you who you are. I want to encourage you to reflect and to go study the game tape, the training tapes. Go study the things that you've done when you have opportunities to go back and hear yourself, watch yourself. Take notes on what you do well, take notes of what you're not doing so well, and then go apply it and practice and improve on it, and keep practicing until you show up, and you have that product in the way you want to present it. And then you're going to show up on game day. You're going to show up to speak. You're going to show up to perform. You're going to show up to play an instrument or sing or whatever it is and present something. And you're going to kick it right out of the park, because you have prepared and you've put in the work. And then you can have a sense of accomplishment because you put the work in. And nobody can say to you, you're lucky. Nobody can say that you're lucky, because you've actually practiced, you've actually tried hard, and you've actually put it together. And then you show up for game day and you let everything else take care of itself, because you've been there. You've been there. Show up to practice, put the work in, visualize, envision what you want it to be like. If you're going to speak in front of a crowd, envision yourself on the stage in front of people, and how you would move, how you would talk, how you would act, and allow yourself to yourself into that future moment, and then allow yourself to practice that in the present moment. Those are some of the things that I do and continue to learn and tweak and adapt in, and they've definitely helped me. But the most important thing is, I want you to actually show up, but not just be present in the sense of physically present, but actually be in it and do things. Like, don't just physically show up and just expect things to just work out. you're going to have to put some hard work into it. And I think that the more you practice, the more you train, the better you're going to become. You're going to learn new things, and you're just going to lead well. You're going to be able to help people. You're going to be able to add value, and really, what is very important to me, you're going to be able to create impact, and you're going to be able to make a difference in the world. But we have to do that on purpose. We have to be intentional, and none of this stuff happens by accident. None of this just happens because we show up and whatever. Let's see. We'll see. Maybe we'll get lucky today. No, it's done on purpose. We practice, we plan for it, we train for it, and then we go win the game. I hope this encourages you. Like always, if this is an episode that you think somebody else should hear, pass it on, share it, give me a comment, tell me what you think. I want to add value to you. If there's something that you want me to talk about in the future, or there a guest that you would love for me to have on the podcast, let me know. I want to hear from you. I really do want to hear from you, because I don't want to just be, shooting out principles and information and just hoping that it lands. If you want to grow and you have something that you want to learn more about, you let me know, because I want to help you dream big. I want to help you grow always. And of course, I want to help you lead well. So bye for now, and I'll catch you in the next episode.